About a year ago, we got a call from Winton's office asking if we had a flugelhorn he could use for a new piece he had written for the LCJO that had a short flugel double for the trumpet section. We had not made a flugelhorn since we'd made two as prototypes back in the late 1980s. Then in 1989, Art Farmer inspired me to design and build the first flumpet. Art immediately started using it full-time for all his playing, and it quickly caught on with both jazz and classical players we work with. So the success of the flumpet effectively put a 20-year-plus hold on the Monet flugelhorn. With Winton's request for a Monet flugel, and given his and Charlie Schluter's track record for inspiring many of the most innovative Monet instrument designs, we decided to see if we could come up with something worthwhile. We needed to overcome the sound and intonation problems most people find inherent in the flugelhorn to make it worthwhile to build. So 20 years plus later, now armed with CNC machines and the likes of Dean Willoughby, John Kim, and the rest of my crew to help, I drew up the tooling we would need to make, and we started planning and programming. We needed to come up with an all-new, bottom-sprung, one-piece valve casing, the first new valve casing since we built Adam Rappa's 4-valve Tantra. The casing required an all-new technique for us, cutting a slot in the wall of the valve casing for the valve guide to follow. A shorter casing with no baluster is the way to go on a flugel, as a taller casing constricts the width and breadth of sound. Controlled dispersion is what we wanted in the casing and in the instrument, with no nasal, thin, or pinched sounds coming out of the bell. We also needed a new lead pipe design, so I drew up the shape and gave John the numbers to program. Same thing for the first branch. We needed an all-new design to get where we needed to go. The new mandrels turned out great. The mandrel sizes coming off the CNC were right on the numbers to the specs I wrote up for John to cut. Hey John.
Hi.
We're prototyping.
Yeah.
And we're making tooling. We're making a mandrel here, and so I programmed this on the computer yesterday, and you were just showing me the measurements on this thing. Let's just demonstrate that a little bit. What's on the small end of this mandrel? What's our measurement?
So our measurement on here, getting about 542, 542.5.
Right. Yeah. And if you look at the program for the end of this section of the mandrel, it's 542.5. That's cool.
Right, and then it continues out to our final diameter of 590. And then right there we get a...
So there's our 590 on the sheet. 590 right there. Imagine that. Boy, the CNC lathe is so fun.
It's pretty
so cool.
It cuts pretty precisely. So.
It's pretty cool. So I drew all this up with all the arcs and everything on the computer yesterday, and we're cutting tooling today.
Here we go.
And boom, first shot, boom, and we're there.
Yep.
This is so cool.
We can see this come together.
Yeah, well, we'll see if this horn plays. We got a ways to go. Thank you, John.
Yep.
Making the new bell mandrel took some finagling, as it's 33 inches long, and our only CNC lathe at the time could turn only 11 inches between centers. The few times I've tried to hire outside machine shops to make new bell mandrels for us, they universally seem to think that if it looks kind of like a bell-shaped piece of steel, it would be good enough. No thank you. So an in-house mandrel was the only way to go. We started with a 175-pound round of steel and milled it down to hog off some of the extra material before fitting it in the lathe. We bored and tapped both ends, taking great pains to keep everything indexed perfectly and concentric. We ended up making a two-piece mandrel, and along with a couple rabbits that also came out of the hat, the finished mandrel turned out great. This is the longest mandrel we've ever made, and it was absolutely right to the numbers. When we trimmed the bell and matched it to the large end of the new design first branch, it was perfect. As Dan in our shop says, the blind squirrel finds the acorn every once in a while. More to the point, John and Dean hit this one out of the park. Other than these larger, rounded, tapered parts we need to make to build the new Flugel, there are lots of unusual, smaller parts to make our new design as well. Most are hand-fabricated, as you've been seeing here. The sheet bracing is long and delicate on this instrument. Here you can see we mill a tiny groove in the full-length bead as it fits over the edge of the braces. It's a small point, but with a perfect fit, everything goes together so much easier. Less tension in the instrument encourages less tension in the player. People who are not familiar with instrument design might think these sheet braces are just for show, but nothing could be farther from the truth. Every part of an instrument contributes to how it resonates, and brace shape, size, thickness, and placement can make or break any instrument. As usual, the last few days were spent perfecting brace placement, hardware weights down to the best tenth of a gram, and mouthpiece specs to achieve the sound and response we wanted and constant pitch center all over the horn. When the Flugel was finally playable, clients visited the shop from all over during a very brief window of time before delivery to check it out. We wanted lots of testing and break-in before turning Winton loose with it. We had Bernat from Spain in, who then ordered one on the spot. Then Troy from New Orleans, otherwise known as Trombone Shorty. Then our dear friend Ron Miles from Denver. They all visited the shop and played for us, which was great. When it was time for delivery to Winton on the first day of rehearsals for his Swing Symphony with the L.A. Philharmonic, Rashawn Ross met me at the hotel near the hall in Los Angeles at 7:30 a.m. to test the horn for himself. Not sure how the others on the floor would rate this instrument, but Rashawn loved it. Here's a quick sample of how all these different players sounded on it before we delivered it to Winton. Good.
Great, Dave.
Oh, you sound fantastic on that thing. All right, we're going to finish it up and see if we can get her going.
Thank you.
Thank you for the inspiration. You sound great.
Thank you.
I might have to switch. That's beautiful. It's light too.
Yeah, it's not heavy.
It's so in tune.
It's not bad.
It's like unheard of on flugelhorns, man.
You sound pretty good on that thing for the first 30 seconds you played it.
Yeah.
Rashawn and I then walked over the hall together, and Winton played it in his dressing room for the first time just before the rehearsal. Does that play?
Yeah, very good. Come on now.
Since the first of these new Flugels was delivered to Winton less than a year ago, we've already made 3 more. We finished the most recent Flugel just a few days ago, and we have it here at the show for you to check out. There's one more detail on this Flugel project to show you. We needed a custom Monette case to fit our unique Flugel design, so I drew up the shell dimensions, all under carry-on size restrictions, then contacted our fiberglass shop to gear up and make molds. Our case maker Nick was up to the task, and we made the first Monette Flugel case with custom cut interior and Nick's beautiful leather hand-sewn exterior, just in time to deliver Burnat's new flugelhorn just a few weeks ago. Horn. Just screaming, Nick. Nick, beautiful job on this case.
Beautiful horn, Dave. Good job on the horn.
Yeah, well, team effort.
Here we go. High five.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.